Bonjour tout le monde. It's Autistic doll. So today I just wanted to bring to your attention something that I've been actually looking into the last couple of months. Because I've been having some just strange realizations that I could be going through traumatic events that have led me to a point where now I have no choice but to isolate myself from people. Um, and I mean that in every sense of the word, isolate myself from human beings. So I found this chart from Neurodivergent Insights. Um, I don't, mm, it's the first time I've ever heard of them. They have a chart here, just basically, I like to look at things through infographics. It helps me understand information a lot better. Um, they're basically saying, misdiagnosed Monday, how, PTSD versus autism, how they can, you know, people can be, I guess, wrongly misdiagnosed because they have such similar symptoms. And I didn't realize this was so prevalent with autism, especially those who, regardless if they were diagnosed with autism early or late, but is especially with late diagnosis adults. I didn't know it was so prevalent. So, basically it's showing here the symptoms of PTSD, how it differs from autism over this side. And obviously, I checked the box for all of these symptoms here for autism, but with the presence of traumatic events, um, for me, the thing is with autism, there are a lot of things I think that are traumatic that the neurotypical person might not view that as traumatic. So, that's another hill, a mountain to, discuss more on. But for me, this is how I look at it. My entire life, was never diagnosed correctly. It was never even alluded to me and my mother that it, it could be autism. So I've gone through my entire life thinking I'm one person when I'm not. I knew there was something off. I knew there's something, I don't want to say wrong with me, but that's what it feels like when I'm talking to people now, when I'm talking to people then, when I'm talking to people recently. The way I talk, it's not typical, meaning in the neurotypical person's lens looking at me, there's something wrong with her. There's something off about her. And that is not positive. So if that's how I've been perceived majority of my life, which is why now I'm realizing I would have never gotten anywhere, and I would have continued my life going to school, getting the diploma, and then still having nothing at the end of it. That would have been my entire life. It to me that's traumatic. So I understand I am not someone who went to war and saw people being blown up. And body parts are laid everywhere. I didn't have blood on me. I didn't shoot people. I wasn't in that type of PTSD. I get that. But when you have no source of income now, you have no source of, you can't work a job, you can't even talk to people, just talk to people other than hi and bye, because it's so triggering from all the other interactions I've previously had my entire life. It's debilitating. So if you don't want to call that traumatic, a traumatic event or a series of traumatic events. I don't know what to tell you. Avoidance behavior. This is what kind of sent red flags in my brain when I saw this and said that people who have PTSD tend to want to just isolate or find any way to just isolate themselves. And I've always been that way, but I thought by this point of my life I would have my property, or property meaning a house, or a little income property to kind of just decompress in, and that never happened. So at this point, I there's just no point in me trying to connect with the average person because they don't get it. um Intrusive memories and flashbacks, as you can tell with me trying to explain my life in this brief video, it all of it is intrusive. If I can't look backwards, I can't look in the past for too long because it feels like my mind's gonna split. I can't look forwards now either because there's nothing to look forward to. Um, I so my I'm trying to keep my thoughts just now, in the now. Um, and it's hard because I've never been that way. I'm either looking forward or back. So it's a minute by minute struggle. Hypervigilance. It it's so bad that I hypervigilance for me is so bad that, as I said, the only peace I can get is isolation. I don't feel like I have people watching me. I don't feel like I have people judging me this way. Um, it's just the four walls, my my pets, and food. That's I can't take any more than that. And then nightmares. Now I've always had issues, severe issues sleeping. I didn't even know that was so prevalent in autism. But I've had it since I was born. Um, so I don't have many nightmares. Um, the thing is, with sleep, if the only sleep that was great for me was when I was on medication. And unfortunately, those medications tended to only last 2 to 3, up to, about a couple of months to about a year, and then it stopped working. So, like, when I'm on medications, I don't dream. I don't have nightmares. I'm not, it's basically like I'm dead. So there's no really reference to draw off of when it comes to nightmares. Um, yeah. So I don't know. For me right now, when it comes to dissociation, intimacy difficulties, increased risk of victimization, negative beliefs of self and world, difficulty managing intense emotions, heightened sensitivities to sensory input, high rates of substance abuse. I'd never had substance abuse issues, but depression, self harm, and deleting oneself. I've experienced that. Hypervigilance, overreactive nervous system, heightened startle response. That is through the extreme roof right now. That's up into the sky. Over or hypervigilant. Impulse control difficulties, not it for myself, I don't think it's impulsive, but maybe the average person might think it is. Um, I guess that's up into your interpretation of my life. Executive functioning difficulties, yes, I do have that, and then obviously sleep issues, and then stimming. Stimming, I do that. I didn't realize I did it daily, but yeah, I do stim. I do stim visibly when I'm on my own. I won't do it around people because I know that makes me even more of a non-typical person. So yeah, all that to say is, um, for me, I check a lot of these boxes, majority of these boxes, and I don't know. What do you, if you are like in my situation, how are you dealing with it? What is your ways to cope? Like right now, I I'm gonna try to end these videos somewhat positively. Um, I tend to stim, so I always have something in my hand squeezing, or like right now I'm coloring. So that tends to help me distract from past thoughts or future thoughts. Helps me stay in the moment. And obviously the stimming, I like stimming, but looking, so not outside person or stranger looking at me, it looks like I'm belong in a psych ward. So you tell me, please, any kind of information, your comments, please make it be constructive and not. I want this channel to be somewhat of a safe space. I think we all, regardless of what's going on in your life, we all deserve some kind of safe space to talk freely, openly, even disagree, but do it respectfully. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts and how you're coping, positive ways of coping. Um, I don't drink, don't do drugs, so anything other than those things, please. Thank you so much.